Ever wondered where your recycling goes after it's picked up from the curb? It all comes here, to Recycle Ann Arbor's Zero Waste Material Recovery Facility, or as they call it, the MRF. You might say this is where the egg gets unscrambled, because this is where your recycling gets sorted and processed so the materials can be made into new products. Opened in December of 2021, this zero waste facility is a demonstration that recycling can and does work. 100% of the accepted recyclable materials that come here get recycled. This facility processes between 120 and 140 tons of recyclables a day. That's equal to 3 fully grown humpback whales or 6 city buses. Previously a shuttered transfer station, this completely refurbished facility represents a valuable community asset that has been reclaimed to provide an important service and create good union jobs that help support the local economy. It all begins at the scale, where the trucks come in and the raw weight of each load is measured and recorded in the scale house. The material is then dumped onto the tip floor, where the loader operator mixes the material to loosen it up and create a good mix for separation. The material is closely monitored to make sure it's recyclable and doesn't pose a danger to the MRF or the people working there. Large contamination like bulky plastics, furniture, and even tires are pulled out of the mix. They're also on the lookout for batteries and electronic items that can cause fires and shut down the entire facility. These items pose the biggest dangers to the MRF, and because the safety of their staff is the highest priority, Recycle Ann Arbor has invested in a state-of-the-art fire rover system. It employs a series of cameras, sensors, and nozzles that are monitored remotely 24/7 to detect specific heat signatures based on set parameters. This system plays a vital role in protecting the facility, the people who work here, and the communities it serves. Next, the material is dropped into the feed hopper. The feed hopper helps maintain an even flow of material into the system as it moves into the metering drum and onto the conveyor belt, where it then heads to the pre-sort. Here, materials are sifted through for anything that can't be recycled or could be hazardous. Sorting is critical at the MRF. That's how Recycle Ann Arbor ensures they end up with the highest and best use of the material possible. If the material isn't sorted properly, it can be rejected by an end market, which devalues the material and can even result in it being sent to a landfill. Trained frontline sorters work to remove contaminants and items that can't be recycled or could pose a threat to the staff or the equipment further down the line. Plastic bags, textiles, and string lights are particularly problematic because they can get tangled in gears, cause delays, and damage the equipment. RAA sorts in smaller batches and runs their conveyor belt a little slower, 22 tons per hour compared to other MRFs. This helps them pull out more contaminants and make the cleanest, most pure materials possible. Less contamination equals better material. After pre-sort, the material moves over a series of screens. Cardboard is removed and conveyed to a large bunker until it is baled. A glass removal screen and breaker breaks and removes glass bottles and jars, while an air knife helps discard the small contaminants. We all want to recycle as much as possible. But as you can see, not everything makes it through the system. Items smaller than 3 inches, like unsecured plastic caps, metal caps, bottle rings, and shredded paper, all end up as contamination. A good tip is to leave caps and lids secured to their containers so that they don't fall through the cracks. Next up is the ballistic sorter. This system separates the 2-dimensional material like mixed paper and fiber from the 3-dimensional material like bottles and containers. Those are sent down to the commingle container line where a magnet pulls steel for further separation. Here on the paper line, sorters remove non-fiber material. The biggest contaminants are plastic film and bags. Each day, the MRF has to be shut down for close to 2 hours to cut the plastic materials out of the machines. That's why Recycle Ann Arbor recommends you avoid bagging your recyclables. Bagged recyclables can get discarded immediately, per OSHA standards, so it's best to just keep your recyclables loose in your cart. Also, please keep in mind what you put in your cart impacts the facility and the sort staff. Recycling is a hands-on job, and to do it properly, the sorters have to touch the materials. So when you're considering whether or not to toss those dirty diapers into your recycling cart, it's good to keep in mind that if you think it's gross, they will too. The container line is where the three-dimensional materials from ballistics end up. RAA's Samurai robot uses AI to target specific materials like PP, yogurt tubs, HDPE, milk jugs and laundry detergent, and UBC, aluminum cans. It also gathers information on the types of materials identified and is connected to a network of machines throughout the nation for continued learning. The Samurai can make about 35 picks per minute, but our sorters are faster and can pick 45 per minute. It's a high-tech tool that helps improve recycling, but won't solve the bigger issue of plastic packaging. Nor can it replace the highly trained staff who make the real difference at Recycle Ann Arbor. When you think about recycling, you probably think of the Chasing Arrows logo. You also might be aware of the different numbers associated with different types of plastics. It's important to know that the number inside the triangle does not necessarily indicate the item is recyclable, and the recycling symbol as a whole does not guarantee recyclability. Several factors affect plastic's recyclability, including the type of plastic, its ability to be effectively recovered, and the existence of end markets for that specific plastic type. For your convenience, here's a list of Recycle Ann Arbor's accepted materials: mixed paper and boxboard, cardboard, metal cans, glass bottles and jars, any color, number 1 and number 2 plastic bottles, jars, and jugs, and number 5 plastic tubs and containers. It's not magic making those cans jump around. It's an eddy current. It uses magnets arranged to create a rapidly changing magnetic field that repels aluminum cans off the line and into a separate bin. The remaining material heads to the optical sorter, which uses light waves to determine what type of material it's seeing. Recycle Ann Arbor's optical sorter looks for PET and uses puffs of compressed air to remove the material from the line at a rate of 100 picks per minute. It's then sent to the final PET quality sort line and eventually to the PET storage bunker. Almost all of the plastic PET bottles that Recycle Ann Arbor receives get recycled and turned back into bottles. Keeping materials in the recycling loop is important because it means less raw materials will have to be extracted from the earth. The final few steps in the process happen at the baling machine. Here, the separated materials that have been stored in the bunker storage bins are baled, further inspected, and made ready to be shipped out. They'll all go to local end markets within roughly 200 miles of Ann Arbor, where the feedstock will be used as a raw material to make new products, saving valuable resources. Recycle Ann Arbor takes tremendous pride that less than 12% of all the materials they receive go to the landfill. Compared to the 25 to 35% industry standard, it's easy to see where the hard work pays off. Keeping materials local not only saves fuel in transporting them, but more importantly helps create local jobs and benefits local economies, key to RAA's mission of serving and strengthening communities. Recycle Ann Arbor also maintains long-term, close relationships with local markets who operate according to the same high standards by focusing on quality over profits. This allows RAA to compete with larger national recycling facilities because when it comes to recycling the right way, quality is much more important than quantity. The prices set for these materials are based on globally recognized specifications, and it's why RAA works so hard to properly sort and clean their material. As a nonprofit, the money RAA receives for these materials is shared with the community that sends it here, and the rest is used to operate, maintain, and improve the facility, pay the salaries of the people who work there, and educate the community about the benefits of recycling. Recycling can be an effective way to save valuable resources, mitigate climate change, and protect all life if it's done authentically with a zero-waste approach. As a zero-waste organization, Recycle Ann Arbor understands that while recycling alone won't solve our waste problem, it is part of the solution. To learn more about Recycle Ann Arbor's zero-waste mission and how you can help, visit recycleannarbor.org. Be sure and check out their A to Z recycling guide to learn what you should and shouldn't be putting in your curbside recycling. With just a few small steps, you can make a big difference in what happens here at the MRF.